All right, so this is a Batol Mythic Plus Showcase. This is a +3. In this video, I am playing Destruction Warlock. I am playing Diabolist. And I am showing off a dungeon that was released in Cataclysm, so it has never seen the light of Mythic Plus yet. This is a first pass, I suppose. This had just come out about a day or so before I recorded this. And as of now, it is one of the few dungeons that I'd say is not like bullshit difficulty. And that it is actually, you know, I'd say pretty fair balance for +3, maybe a little easy, maybe it needs to get a little bit harder. And there's some considerations for Mythic Plus here and some things I want to talk about. And I'm going to go through the video. The actual recording itself is 24 minutes long, but I will be pausing and skipping around a bunch. So the video is also sped up just slightly by about 10%, just so we can get through it a little more in a little more timely fashion. You can't mount in here. I tried that. So this two mobs here, the Brutal Strike just hits the tank, and it's got this mass tremor effect. I think you'll see one of those go out. It's like an AoE thing, as you would expect. And it's got that bolt effect, which just hits a random target and does damage. It's pretty low priority in terms of kicks. And then there's this Obsidian Storm, I think is the name of this ability, which is just a thing underneath you. And you can see here, I test the damage of it, test the speed of it almost, and it's pretty fucking quick. It kills you. I'd say that's less than a second probably after the actual cast goes off. But once you have weak arts and stuff, and once you know it's being cast, I'm sure it won't be that bad, because the damage is totally avoidable there. And you see I go to summon a pet and stupid Feldom cooldown and, you know, whatever. So we carry on to this next pack here, and there's two more Twilight Brutes, which are the same mob from before that does the circle, and a Twilight Destroyer, which is the dragon. And it does this umbral wind effect, and you can see, wink, it's a big knockback. At some point, this guy in front of me here, I think this is the monk, gets an, or no, it's a shaman, gets some sort of effect that puts this puddle on the ground, which you just avoid. There you go, Umbral Wind. See the knockback again. It's going to be one of those things where you probably get an air horn or something. This other Overseer here, kind of just doing tank mechanics and stuff. We get him down. I believe there's a few more of these in the packs to come. Red Paladin is very, very overtuned. So especially on low target cleave, it's just ridiculous with some of the hero class stuff they get. You can see my Diabolist stuff activating. I'll talk a little bit about Diabolist, my thoughts on Warlock at the end of the video, just like I did last time. I tried to do all these dungeons in different specs and stuff, so I'd have plenty to talk about. And you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dragons in the background that are trapped, that are netted. We have to free all 5 of those to do a bit of well, you'll see. If you've ever done Batol, it's the same thing as you normally do with the dragons. You can see there is more of these annoying AoE guys. The swirlies on the ground. I would skip ahead, but combat's basically over anyways, guys. And this is why I say this dungeon probably needs to be a little bit harder. I mean, this is a +3. It's the equivalent of a +13 in the old system. And I'm actually going to turn my gain down just a little bit. And yeah, the mobs just kind of die like a little bit too fast. This is fortified after all. So you'll see the bosses aren't so bad, but the trash kind of just falls over. All right, so you go ahead and you mount these dragons. There's 1 per person. You can only use them once. And you get 5 charges of this ability here, which is like this bigger kind of AoE. It has 10-minute cooldown. So after you use all 5 charges, like it doesn't recover. You only have 5. And then it has an infinite amount of charges, as many you can press, of this other lesser ability. I guess the bigger ability is called Engulfing Flame. And we kind of, I don't realize that as a cooldown, so I kind of use all mine on the first pack, and then I realize I'm out. start using my second ability here. They really fly quite fast. I think this is sped up from the original just because, you know, they want it to be over quicker because being on a dragon isn't that much fun. Those trogs there can't be damaged. They're not worth percent. They're, you know, they're just worthless. They're just there for RP, I guess. So we're spamming down, letting down fire on all these guys. We don't kill these packs, which is probably a bit of folly here. And so we have to go and we have to fight through these now damaged. That's like real damage. Like these mobs have a normal amount of health. So the fact that you're just doing damage there is, you know, contributing to your overall DPS, which I think is maybe a little bit silly. I don't really know why they included that dragon mechanic at all, but I mean, it was in the original dungeon, and you know, they choose to do what they want with Mythic plus dungeon pool, so it is what it is. You can see this is the same guys from before, really low health, so we just kind of blast through them. You can see I have I believe it's called Inferno Bolt active on my Incinerate there. And I let it expire because I don't have anything tracking that. When that is up, it gives three whole soul shards. So not soul shard fragments. It's pretty crazy. That's a whole rain of fire worth of soul shards, or a chaos bolt and a half. All right, so we have the first boss here, General Umbris. We lust for it. This is just a pug. We didn't really have any sort of plan on how we're going to do these things. And you can see that it's got these dragon lines here. Again, unsure if this was in the original dungeon. I don't think it was. And it spawns these 4 Twilight Drakes, and they're alternating here across the arena. And this is sort of like Vexiona lines, if you remember that from Nyalotha. This dragon is going to go across this way towards me, the player. The dragon that is behind me that you can't see is going to go the opposite way. It's going to go towards this other Twilight Drake, sort of in the lines that you see. Again, big weak aura, big DBM, big little wigs pop up right on your screen. I don't understand how this works. I don't see if there's another dragon coming and I get hit by it. It doesn't kill me. It probably should on a +3, but you know, yeah, very easy to dodge. I think it happens again, and I think I mess it up again. So we'll see. I actually failed to dodge it again, but the fact that I can live it is probably indicative that the tuning is not final yet. I'm still in 580 eye level gear. You can see this comes. Oh, I actually do dodge it this time. Some of my other teammates don't, but they also live. That's not just Warlock advantage. And the boss dies very quickly. Let's see. Top DPS here, mainly on the fact that I get a lot of demons coming out and stuff. Infernal Windows, pretty damn strong with Diabolist. It feels good, so I'm not gonna knock it there. You can see this is new trash. You have these Twilight Beguilers, and then this big Molten Giant here. The Molten Giant is asleep at first, I think, and then you hit him and then he wakes up or something. All the other trash was basically mandatory to this point. I think you can skip some of these guys. I'm not entirely sure. I think we do pull everything in this room. These guys just have these, you know, these kind of measly casts. Molten Giant, let's see what it does. Molten Wake, yep, just a big AoE thing. You might need lesser cooldown on that. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe not. I don't know. Big avoidance button, right? Those mobs can't be stunned or feared interrupted, so that's not, you're dealing with that. Really big fan of Kata, just for packs like this, right? Not something that you can really want to be spamming Infernos on. So just a good way to snap and get Immolate on everything, especially because you don't have instant cast Withers on Diabolist. We can probably skip ahead 10 seconds here to pull the next pack. Yep, just some more patrolling guys. Gonna skip ahead once more. I think we are approaching the boss. Again, more brutes, more Earthcallers. These brutes are the same guys that were around in the beginning of the dungeon. Not really sure where these fire lava things are coming from. I think that's just the effect of being in this room, but you can see these circles are still here, still annoying. But these big ones are a lot slower, and I think that's just an effect of the room. I don't think it's the either the mobs that we're fighting here that are actually doing this. You can see we have one more giant. Lava Fist, I guess that's a tank mechanic. It has like that symbol. sort of like overflowing with chaos shards on Diabolist. On Helicaller, you get a little bit of that, but on Diabolist, it's just crazy sometimes. Especially with the Ruination ability, which I don't think has actually shown up yet, or you've seen me cast yet. Maybe you have. And the Inferno Bolt, which just obviously gives you a shit ton of soul shards. And here's the second boss, Forgemaster Throngus. It's like this big, like, I think he's an Etten, I think is what they're called. And he has 3 of these Forge abilities. Forge Axe, Forge, forget what the second one's called, and then Forge Hammer or something like that. And they do this like AoE cast while he's actually channeling it. And I'm assuming it actually increases his tank damage, maybe gives it like some fire bits. Fiery Cleave, that's just a cone targeted at the tank. You can kind of see when this boss lives for longer that's going to be pretty important, right? To be able to bait that out. My tank kind of walks down the stairs here, proving that you can go down there without resetting the boss. You might be able to fight him across this entire room. I have no idea. This is Molten Flurry. I think that's just a tank ability. I get Molten Spark here. I don't really know what to do with it. And then I hover over it and I see it drops a lava puddle. It's pretty small, so I'm not that concerned with it. It targeted 2 players at once, though. So each of us, you see, dropped one. Well, one dropped one here, one dropped one here, and they start to grow a la Magmarex, right? Though, unlike Magmarex, you can't stand in these to shrink them. Actually, you're not supposed to do that at all. They're just puddles that you're supposed to run away from. And then he gets a mace here, and I have no idea what happens. I'll recap that, right? He goes, he's walking. Auto attack, and he's just dead. Like, I actually have no idea what killed him. But I think we managed to, from what I remember, I'm sitting in the fire like an idiot. I should have walked out of that first. While he's casting Forge Axe, he's going back to his axe. So it looks like it's actually just axe, mace, axe, mace, axe, mace. I assume that he only does the Molten Flurry effect while he has the axe. Whatever the fuck he killed my tank with is probably the mace effect, right? That's typically how those kinds of things work. But we battle res the tank, we get him. You know what? Actually, I saw the cast there for a little bit. Oh, Fiery Cleave. Right, he does that again as soon as he gets the axe. So I'm assuming it's just he has a tank ability that he casts. All those abilities are probably on a set time, right? Not percent health based or anything like that. Again, this is actually my DPS is the lowest. This is before I figured out embellishments. I have these fiery grenades embellishments, I think is what they're called. And they are not very good. So I don't think that's the play. There's instead a Woven Dusk set, Woven Dawn set, which I'll show off in my next video. It's a tailoring profession embellishment, not unlike the Blue Silken Lining, I believe it's called, in Dragonflight. There you can see Ruination, big meteor, awesome, super high damage ability. That is probably going to one-shot people in PvP for a while. Not sure what my paladin died to, but you know, he's a paladin, so it could have just been anything. He might have fallen off the map. And then there's these lava benders here. I'm trying to get a good camera angle for the video. They do like that big big AoE. You can see it hits some of my teammates, so it doesn't kill them. And then he just does these lines. I think it's pretty obvious. Really, really good visual, honestly, on almost everything in this dungeon. I'm not going to say everything because there's probably an ability which I'm forgetting about, but everything has that like really cool indicators. Not unlike raid bosses, and I really do appreciate that. The visual clarity in here is great, especially because a lot of the packs of mobs aren't too dense, right? There's not a lot of like freehold, like 5-6 mobs. It's a lot of packs of 3 they can pull together for 6 total in 2 packs, which I think is probably the way here. But yeah, just a lot of these Warlock guys. Shadow Flame's something. I don't know what this is. Doesn't look like it hit me. Doesn't really look like it hit anyone else to do damage. Might have just hit our tank. Yeah, not really sure what that does. Doesn't seem to be too high priority, or it could just literally do nothing, or it's a buff on itself, whatever. You can see, all right, so there's 3 different things going on here. There's Sear Mind, which I'm pretty sure is a stun effect that is just channeled on a player that you can interrupt. It's sort of like, not lockdown. Oh, goodness. In Toldagor, those guards have an ability that stuns people while it casts. It might be called Handcuff, actually. And then that's one of three things happening here. Then there's enveloping SH. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that does. That might be the rain of fire thing going on. It might be, maybe we'll see it go off. And then there's this decapitate effect. This decapitate effect is the brown swirly here on the ground. And it looks like it just charges to a player and does a bunch of damage. You can stop it, not by an interrupt, obviously, but by a fear or stun or something like that. I think we let that one go off and he jumps to the location, and it doesn't look like he does any damage because I think everybody walked out of it in time. That's how we avoided it. And then we don't have to deal with any more of those casts from that pack. You can see actually, or you might have noticed that we skipped a lot of trash behind us. This might be the room where there is a lot of choice in what you can pull and what you decide to pull. Between this room and the room with the previous boss with Throngus in it, that might be the actual decision there. You can see just more of these guys. Enveloping SH. I don't know. It seems like it might have hit our ret for some dot damage or something. But mostly these guys just kind of do nothing. You can see we have another one of these lava mancers, or lava benders rather, that cycle between these spread things that they don't leave a puddle on the ground, thankfully. That would be very annoying. And the sort of lines that he does, I think he also has, he has a melee ability that I'm assuming makes him even stronger because he also gets bigger. So these guys they're a bit more like lieutenants, whereas the warlocks and the brutes and the decapitators and stuff are you know, they're trash, right? They're trash. I don't think there's much reason to. We can just skip ahead here. Another pack that's hiding in the little side area here. There's 4 mobs. I think we pull these guys behind us. Yep, we pull these guys behind us. Healer immediately dies, but then he reses himself. I think we survive this pack with a bunch of stuns. I get to use Ruination, which makes me very happy. You can move while casting that ability. I'll say that now because I don't do that a whole lot in the dungeon, and I should be doing it a whole lot in the dungeon. I heard someone complaining about Resto Shaman not being very good. It felt fine. I didn't feel like, oh man, I'm taking forever to get healed. I'm not exactly sure what that was. And that pack, completely unrelated, showcases some of the danger of having this targeted kind of stun. You can see, I thought I was done for, right, when this sort of setup happened. The Decapitator immediately targets me with his Decapitate. And I'm really like unable to move. Like I'm midway through an incinerate cast. I have 0.1 seconds left. I don't like instantly get out. And then as I'm running out, boom, I get instantly hit with Sear Mind, which stuns me. Thankfully, someone in my group knocks all the mobs up. And I think that was the shaman there. I think they have an ability that does that. And I am able to escape because it cancels both the Decapitate and the Sear Mind effect, right? So that's helpful. And then you have these two guys, 2 lava benders. Again, these are the two big AoE bros in front of the boss. I don't think usually it's guys like these, like 2 lieutenant style mobs sitting in front of a boss that are usually pretty scary. I don't think this will be pretty scary unless there's some sort of just effect in the scaling, like maybe those like AoE circles that is really particularly dangerous. I don't know. I don't think it will be. I think this will be a pretty fine pack to be able to pull. Not one they have to do anything very extreme for. The fact that they can do the abilities at the same time is fine, but you can also just kind of kite these guys out. I say how fine this is, and looks like our entire group's dying of something. I think that those guys might have gotten hit by one of the effects and just bled out. Or not bled, died of fire damage over time. You can see in Cleave, Red Paladin is just like gross. Not exactly sure what I was trying to see there. Look at my talents.
I will burn you from the
and then here we have the third boss. We have Drahga Shadowburner, who is an interesting boss. You may see that their health bar is going down very quickly. Like I haven't even cast. I'm midway through, right? Like my sort of like opener here, and he's already below 80% health. Invocation of Shadow Flame. What does that do? It summons a thing over there, and that thing, that swirly, is going to turn into a mob. It already has turned into a mob. You just can't see it yet. And it fixates a random guy. Lots of mechanics like these in dungeons. It just walks at him. You have to stop him. I think it is an elemental, so if I had Banish, I probably would be able to banish it. But I sort of assess the situation, and I don't even have time to Havoc. It just instantly gets blown up. I think those things are supposed to have a lot more health, or they're just supposed to spawn more. Like, I don't know. It only spawns one of them, and it's kind of just like a joke. So I assume that's supposed to be, if that's a real mechanic, that's supposed to do a lot more. He's supposed to have a lot more health, right? You saw it just fell over instantly, right? It's not really a concern.
If they do not kill you, I will do it myself.
And then he respawns with a dragon. Phase 2. Knew he had not a lot of health, right? Valiona here gets a whole new set of abilities, and I'll just kind of say them as they happen. Invocation of Shadow Flame. That's the same ability. That's the one that spawns the ad. I decide to try and cleave it instead of the boss, and I get slowed by something or other here, and I just cannot get away from this thing. I try and get some cast off. On the boss to be able to cleave it. None of my teammates really help me out, and it explodes on me, and you can see it applies this 6-second dot. I think I hover over it. 500,000 damage every second is pretty serious, even though it does only last for 6 seconds. I totally forget whether or not I live it. Yep, I do live it. I had, as you can see, I had both my demonic hellstone and my healing pot available. Healing pot is well over half your health on beta. One of them goes out again. I realize the gravity of the situation. It gets Ring of Peace away, so it can be knocked back, which makes me also think that it can be banished as well, Hunter trapped and probably and all that stuff. So I immediately try and get it down with Havoc. It gets dispatched basically immediately. And once he loses the dragon, he dies. So there's no phase 3 there where he's off the dragon or something like that. And then you have these bigger pulls. This is probably the biggest pull in the entire dungeon, the biggest pack. There's 6 mobs or so. Your mind goes out, and I don't know. I think that I had the macro for hover interrupt, but I don't. So the entire Seer Mind goes off on our healer, which is not ideal, but he saves himself. I also could have Mortal Coil. There's a lot of things I could have done. I could have pressed Infernal. Then I get targeted with Seer Mind, and I realize the gravity situation of I probably need to start interrupting that, right? Kind of annoying. The tanks kind of keeps moving the mobs here. Certainly something that's not very fun for Destro. Really for casters in AoE. They generally have a lot of ground-based effects that you're concerned with. I can't believe how much damage he's doing. All right, so here's the same dragon from before. This is the one with a knockback effect, which means I should probably not be standing so close to this ledge. And a bunch of these mutated hatchlings. And the mutated hatchlings, do they do anything? I don't actually know. All right, Umbral Wind. This is a knockback. I know this. That's why I sort of moved away from the edge there. I probably want to be up against a wall, right? Maybe, and perhaps in one of these cubbies to stop the knockback. Like fight him over here and then run to the cubby, right? So you probably get it. Twilight Flame. I think that's the effect that drops a puddle on the ground. Yep, like it drops a puddle on the ground. It looks like it actually does it several times because every time it goes out, it looks like 3 puddles form. So I think it goes out and then it goes out again and then it goes out again after like on the same person after every cast. So you probably want to have a plan to keep those close together. And then here we go. And then there's a Faceless Corruptor with a bunch of mutated hatchlings. Mutators just get annihilated. Somehow my hunter dies. I don't really know. I think he might have stood in one of the swirlies. And then this is the effect, Mind Piercer. That's those. I'm pretty sure it just does damage to you and applies a dot. Yeah, you cast Corrupt on the tank. Not sure what that does. It's probably just a high damage AoE or something. I have no idea. When we res our hunter, you pull this next pack. Another Faceless Corruptor. Don't think anything particularly interesting happens, so I'm just going to skip ahead. Yep, you can see this useless string. It's useless for me because I never use it. That's this right here. I forget the exact name of it. It's on my character. I'll actually launch my World of Warcraft right now, so I'll be able to talk about some of these things and these talents. Yep, big pull here. You can see there's two of these big guys, of these corruptors. I'm going to disable that. And you can see things get a little bit hairy, but we're able to survive it. And then all those guys are pulled away. We just have the two faceless corruptors. They can both do this mind piercer. You can see a lot of swirlies, pretty dangerous. Just walk away from it though, and you're fine. And then I get targeted with corrupt here, and it looks like it applies this debuff to me. I can just actually turn my volume up. It applies this debuff to me, and this hurts like hell. Let's see, 2, 1, and the dot stops, and I stop taking damage, and I'm fine. I was able to live through it by pressing my things that heal me. Probably want to save, like, prepare for that, prepare a lesser cooldown, even a greater cooldown. But the only problem with using your big cooldown, using your, you know, any of your big 2 minutes or 3 minutes, would be that you immediately pull this guy. So might want to save that for the boss. We get ready. We don't have our bloodlust back because we did just very recently kill the first boss. You can see that big AoE is kind of crazy. So he goes and he, let's see, Void Surge, and I don't get healed from the beginning, pull the next pack, and I'm also burning rushing myself. But then he pretty immediately goes into this AoE here, channels for 2 seconds, and then boom, 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 like lots of damage over the duration. Spawns these swirlies on the ground. These swirlies aren't mobs; they don't like attack you for being near them. I know they kind of look like it, but they don't. And it's kind of dark in here, but you can see in game. More so maybe than this video, it's pretty easy to see where those tentacles are on the ground. Not only because they stick up through the ground, but then he casts this Shadow Gale ability. Classic kind of storm ability. It puts a location on the ground, and there's a circle around it. You can see the circle is shrinking, Fortnite style. And then we get this ability, I think it's called Abyssal Corruption or something, and it goes out and it's just circles around us. Yeah, we weren't in range of other people, so we didn't kill each other with it. Just want to avoid staying next to your teammates. And then a bunch of ads come pouring forth. And it is the mutated hatchlings from before, and as we saw, they did kind of nothing. So we just kill them and stack cleave. I don't think my strategy here of dropping infernos and stuff is really going to be the way you're going to be doing this. Though they probably do stack up with damage or something that's kind of not fun. My paladin's dead. He does that. And I think, yep, I see there's another storm going out. I am privy to it, though, so I immediately start moving when it comes close to me. And, okay, Void Infusion. Don't know what that did. Looks like maybe a tank ability. Brush. Big knockback on the tank, you can see. It could be a little scary, I guess. More adds to cleave. Looks like that happens every time the storm ends. Void Surge, that's the AoE ability. And as he's casting this last storm here, cast bolt, dead. And that's it. That's the end of the dungeon. I do run over to the chest. I don't. Yeah, I got a cloak. Whatever. Who cares? All right. So that was the dungeon. Overall, I thought it was pretty fun. I wouldn't say that there was a whole lot going on in the dungeon, in that it's not very complex, but if I recall the timer, let's see here. Yeah, it's a 34-minute dungeon, so it's among the longest. It might actually be the longest dungeon, but it didn't really feel like there was a lot of downtime. I think the dragon stuff is really boring, and that unfortunately, just like the dragon stuff being the segment where you go fly on the dragons, is pretty boring, but it is what it is. That's just kind of part of the dungeon. And I'm going to show off and talk about some of the Diabolist stuff. My build is different because I did some things between recording that and now. I've been using the same CDF build, AoE CDF build from Kalamazi the whole time. Because I'm not playing Hellcaller, there does not exist a bug with Wither where you can't cast CDF. So this is really like a lot more fun to play. You can see I'm not doing any immolate things. or sorry, any incinerate things, which feels especially fine because you have so much shard gen from your guys. Ruination is a thing that doesn't cast any soul shards, and it's in the place of your CB, and your chaos bolt, that is. And I think soul shard. I think there's another bit of soul shard gen here. No, I suppose not. I suppose it's really just the fact that you get ruinations to eat your soul shards, and you also get Infernal Bolt here. When you get your Mother of Chaos, 1 out of every 4 of your kind of greater demons here, and generates 3 soul shards, 3 whole soul shards. I will say, I'll talk about demonology later, but this is also 3 soul shards on demonology, so it's kind of like the value of a soul shard on the value of a soul shard on affliction and destruction is not the same as the value of a soul shard on demonology. It's worth a lot more than it is on demonology. So the fact that it gives the same for both is a little weird, but hey, it is what it is. Ruination. There's also an additional effect here with your Hand of Gul'dans on demonology, so that's fine. Overall, this felt really good to play. Not having instant cast Wither is kind of annoying, but I'd say it more than makes up for the fact that CDF is bugged and you can't cast it, say 20% of the time in combat, which is really frustrating. I think this build kind of is the way to go. Unless they change Shadowburn pretty fundamentally, I don't think it's going to be the option for Mythic Plus. Mostly PvP talent. I think even in Dragonflight, you use Shadowburn in PvP on live right now. Soulfire, again, just not really worth it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the talking here. Oh, actually, no, there is one more bit of talking, and it's nothing to do with the ruinations. It's nothing to do with your demons, nothing like that. It is not this node, not this node, not this node. It is not even this hero class. The thing I was thinking about was the Soul Harvester tree. So nothing about that. Grim Batol, if I can pull it up here in the adventure journal, it is Cataclysm, Grim Batol, Mythic Plus difficulty. 4-boss dungeon, obviously. Pretty fun, I'd say. It's kind of small spatially, so you're not doing a ton of running. There have been, from what I remember, 2 other Cataclysm dungeons that have been revamped into Mythic Plus dungeons. That being Throne of the Tides, which is generally pretty mixed reviews. I don't think people are too down on it. I think people think Throne of Tides was okay. There was a lot they added to it. And Vortex Pinnacle, which is widely regarded as one of the worst Mythic Plus dungeons of all time. So I think they were taking a real risk doing another one right away, doing another Cata dungeon right away. But Grim Batol is, I'd say, pretty enjoyable. There's no loot from here yet. That cloak I got, let's see, cloak. You can't see it. That cloak I got was really low eye levels, like eye level like 87 or something. Like it was like actually like normal mode Cataclysm loot. So that's not yet implemented, I guess. New trinkets and stuff presumably also going to come from here. But yeah, there is the guides on the bosses, so you can see. There is one, Missile Corruption, Erudax Invested Target. All right, so this is just a dot. This effect that was going out was just a dot, and it's a mythic mechanic, so it's new. Aside from that, that is everything. So Grim Batol, this was not on my tier list because this is not a new dungeon, and I was only ranking the new dungeons on that one. But the Mythic Plus incarnation of this one is pretty fun. I think it's going to be right around like a C grade, maybe, if your scale goes from A to F. It goes from S to F, right? It would be right around midway. I don't think anyone's going to be very excited about this dungeon, and that it does take a while. It's a 34-minute dungeon in a season where 34-minute dungeons are on the longer end. But it's not bad. I wouldn't say there's anything terribly offensive in there. And that's really the most you can hope for with a Cataclysm dungeon, right? Just to be inoffensive. I will have another video coming out on not a new dungeon nor a newly mythic dungeon. Just kind of, this is just how it happened. A lot of the dungeons right now, a lot of the War Within dungeons are, I'm not gonna call them unplayable, but very unfun. They're in their current iteration, that is, and that a lot of them just bowl you over, just murder you right away, right? And it's like a lot of groups just disband immediately because, you know, the first boss has a mechanic that just instantly kills your tank, right? And that's not very fun. So Mists of Tyranus Scythe it is. And this is a Shadowlands dungeon. I'm sure many of you watching this video have actually done this dungeon in Mythic Plus in current season. This is the first season where Shadowlands dungeons are coming back. There's 2 of them. There's that and Necrotic Wake. I haven't done Necrotic Wake yet. There will be a video on that later. But Mists of Tyranus Scythe, that's the next one to look out for. Spoilers, it is pretty fun. It was fun and it still is fun. So yeah, Grim Batol, pretty good. Diabolist Destruction, pretty good. I really like Diabolist a lot more on Demonology, but you're gonna have to wait until my next video to get some thoughts on that. If you have any other ideas, sorry about jostling the microphone. If you have any other ideas for videos, please let me know. Please leave them in the comment section below. If you have any other comments on my video or my content or my shirt or my face, please also leave them in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you did like it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I will have daily or near daily videos coming out for a while. I know I did miss 2 uploads in the last 3 days. I'm sorry about that. But through the rest of the week, there should be plenty more videos. Probably hoping to fill out the rest of the season 1 of the War Within Mythic Plus dungeons on the beta. There should also sometime later in this week be another another beta build, that is, and maybe some Warlock changes or some Blood Death Knight changes I can talk about. If you want to see me do reviews or talks about any other classes or hero classes, I will do that after I've done the Destruction and Demonology videos. One of these of both the hero classes. I'm going to make a larger video about both of those specs in the War Within and kind of how I feel about them. So stay tuned for that. All that should be coming within probably the next week. Thank you for watching and goodbye.